Drug and packaged food stocks had a rough day today, Friday, November 15th, 2024. The cause is probably RFK Jr. being appointed by Trump to lead the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Trump said before the election that he would allow RFK Jr. to, quote, go wild, end quote, on health, food, and medicine. The wild and crazy guys and girls are in charge, or soon will be in charge, and I have to take that into consideration when making investment decisions going forward. The Department of Health and Human Services includes Medicare and the Food and Drug Administration. The stocks of vaccine makers, including Pfizer, were hit hard today, with concerns that RFK will put them through the ringer and possibly even try to end the federal government paying for all or most of the vaccines for Medicare recipients, particularly the COVID vaccine. Medicare has been paying for all of the vaccines that I've taken, including the ones for COVID, the flu, pneumonia, and shingles. The latter two are not recurring. The flu and the COVID vaccines I will take each year, and they have been paid by Medicare. I have not had an adverse reaction to any of those vaccines, nor have I ever had a cold for over 2 decades now. I have a video discussing why the implementation of Trump's tax policies will move forward the bankruptcy of Social Security by at least 3 years, sometime in 2030 or possibly in 2029, as early as 2029, which I will link in the More section below. When the Social Security no longer has sufficient funds in the trust fund to pay benefits, the law requires the benefits to be cut automatically in order to equalize what the Social Security is bringing in each month with what is going out. One of those Trump policies that he has proposed is to remove the taxation on Social Security benefits, which sounds great until you realize that those revenues are used to support both the Social Security and Medicare trust funds now. How much did Social Security and Medicare trust funds receive from that tax source last year? Do you think any Trump voter who is now receiving Social Security and Medicare benefits knows that number? Ignorance can be blissful, and avoiding thought about consequences makes everything easier until actually someone experiences the consequences of their actions or inactions. I read several articles that retirees on Medicare and Social Security voted in droves for Trump because of their concerns about those programs. We will see within the next 4 years whether Trump and his minions in Congress will make them less or more anxious about what they are receiving in Social Security and Medicare. Back in 2011, and this is the kind of thing that goes overlooked by voters, the House Republicans passed legislation that would have repealed traditional Medicare for those then under 55 years old. Those poor souls would be put on vouchers to purchase private insurance under the Republican passed plan in the House, assuming any company would insure them at any price that they could pay, even with the voucher. The bill never became law because it went nowhere in the Senate. The House Republicans passed that law even though the Congressional Budget Office estimated that the average premium cost for private insurance with the voucher would be about twice as much as from traditional Medicare paid by Medicare beneficiaries under the traditional Medicare plans would be paying in premiums. The Republicans just did not care when they voted for that to end traditional Medicare and substitute a voucher program that they would, in effect, bankrupt many of their supporters in their senior years. Passage would save the government a lot of money by transferring federal outlays to the seniors who are on the voucher system, and that money would be used to offset tax cuts for the rich as part of what Paul Ryan labeled the, quote, the path to prosperity, end quote. I published a video on that subject, which I will link in the more section. Perhaps if the Republicans had been successful in implementing that voucher program for the purchase of private health insurance as an alternative to traditional Medicare, some of the senior citizens who would have been on that plan by 2024, and quite a few of them would have been, may not have voted for Trump. At least those who still had a residence that they were registered to vote at and had not had their home sold to pay medical premiums and were not living under a bridge. Packaged food stocks were hit as well. Maybe the RFK is going to send the food police to my home and seize my sugar cookies. Kellogg, the maker of Fruit Loops, is on the target list here. I'm not sure if RFK will allow me to eat the peppermint bark ice cream that I just bought that Haagen-Dazs comes out around Christmas time. I really like that stuff, but I don't know. It may not be good for me. America deserves Trump and the baggage that he's bringing with him. There's no question in my mind about that now. Bitching and moaning about what is about to happen will not change anything. Nor will viewing videos on websites critical of Trump like mine, or articles that provide factual and accurate criticism of his policies and statements that he makes. I'm estimating that his false and misleading statements will go over 40,000 during the second term. The Washington Post found that over 30,000 were false and misleading during his first term. If there is a major downturn in the economy during Trump's term, similar to what happened when the Republicans were in power in 1929 and 2008, and Trump voters lose their homes and jobs, then the Trump fever at least has a chance of being broken. But that may be about all that can happen that would change what is happening now in America. Prior to this last election, the thought had never entered into my mind that I would refrain from buying products or services from people who voted for the candidate that I opposed. I have been thinking now that there must be some form of punishment for those who are subjecting me to another 4 years of Trump and the people that he has appointed to fill government positions. I am not appreciative and more than a little bit annoyed by what I know is about to happen. I have decided as a personal matter, and everyone can do whatever they want on the subject, to never buy a product or service offered by anyone that I know voted for Trump in 2024, or any company whose CEO supported Trump, or any company that advertises on X, Fox, OAN, and similar ilk media outlets. If I had an X account, which I do not, I would have already deleted it. I will not view a message published on X or Truth Social since I do not want to add to their visitor counts. I have read a few articles that some Trump opponents have decided to switch from X to something called Blue Sky. I'm not on those social media websites and I'm not about to start. So none of that has any impact on me. I'll just avoid visiting X and Truth Social altogether.